Sports Illustrated cover story on Oklahoma State. The Cowboys look like they're in some trouble here. And George Dohrmann, one of the investigative writers with this cover story with Sports Illustrated, 5-part series, and he joins us now. How long a time frame are we talking about with Oklahoma State football, George?
With the whole series, we deal with players from 99 to 2011. I mean, with the allegations that we released today, it's more like 2001 to 2010. I'm sorry, 2011. So this is dealing with money, players who received money.
Why Oklahoma State?
It's just a situation where we started hearing some things. We were doing another investigation, and we started hearing a few things about Oklahoma State, and poked around and kept hearing more things about Oklahoma State, and pretty quickly realized the scope of what was going on there, and that it wasn't just one of these sort of stanchions of corruption. It was sort of a lot of them.
How did the pay for play work?
3 ways. So they were the bonus system. There was an assistant coach who ran a bonus system, who would say you get $250 for, a tackle or a tackle behind the line or something like that, or $500 for a sack. So that was one way. Then there were direct payments from boosters and assistant coaches to players. And then really the most creative way was a sort of a system of no-show jobs. You had kids being paid for, fishing for catfish. You had kids being paid for, sitting around watching television, basically. And that included, boosters. It included a guy who was the Fellowship of Christian Athlete, local rep. So it was a really pretty comprehensive sort of sham jobs system. Did
coaches pay the players directly?
Yeah, we accused 2 coaches, Joe DeForest, who's now at West Virginia, and Larry Porter, who's now at Texas. Players told us on the record with their names, recorded interviews, that they got money from those coaches.
Les Miles, Mike Gundy, they know anything about this?
We don't link them directly to payments. I think, we do show how comprehensive this was, how, the people doing it, not only were they coaches, but they were prominent boosters, prominent members of the athletic department, people who, are around the team. So, I think people can sort of raise the question of, if they didn't know, why didn't they know?
Yeah, I brought that up a few minutes ago, that if I have one of my assistant coaches or a couple of them handing out money in envelopes in my locker room to my team and I don't know about it, there's something to be said about me as a leader and a head coach.
Yeah, one thing we read about is how when Les Miles took over, before the 2001 season, he sort of opened the floodgates of boosters. Like, the program was sort of restrictive on, what boosters it allowed there on the team. And then all of a sudden, Les comes in, and you've got boosters in the locker room, team plane, team buses. You've got them just always around the team, at training table, things like that. So, that definitely raises, I think, some suspicions about, why would you do that? Why would you suddenly open up your program to all of these money men?
What kind of money are we talking about exchanging hands?
It was all over the place. One player talked about how he was handed a debit card, $5,000 on it, and it was, periodically refilled. Other players, they got, $800 here, $500 here, sort of bonuses after games, or $100 handshakes, $500 handshakes. After OSU beat Oklahoma in Les's first season, this huge victory for them, they were, the player tells, there's $500 handshakes going around in the locker room after with boosters. So, players, and we talk to players that got, a couple thousand a year, players that got, 10,000 a year. So, and more. So it just really depended on who you were, how good a player you were.
Is there a bounty system?
No, we didn't. We didn't find that. We didn't find that their players were told, if you knock this guy out of the game or something like that. But there were, a big hit on special teams would get you paid, or a sack, obviously, things like that. So we didn't find evidence of them targeting other players, but they certainly incentivized certain play.
So you got paying players, academic fraud, drug use, drug abuse, arranging for women to have sex with recruits. Anything else?
Yeah, the last part of the series, we just sort of look at what we call sort of the lost lives. All the players, they've had a stunning sort of attrition in the program, where they sort of try out guys and then sort of dump them when they don't pan out. So we actually went and talked to those guys and tell their stories. So not really accusatory in the sort of NCAA infractions way, but maybe sort of morally accusatory.
Any response from the NCAA about this?
No, not that we know of yet. I mean, they'll sort of review this and then they'll make their decision about how involved to get. Usually they'll let OSU sort of hook around on their own first, and then they'll get involved.
George, thank you. We'll follow up with you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, George Dohrmann, Sports Illustrated senior writer. It's a 5-part series on Oklahoma State. It's got it all there. It's right out of a movie. Got it all.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.